we are officially done with both group stages of the T20 World Cup, and all of the teams have done pretty amazingly, and congrats to all of them. But now I'm just going to start talking about the top four because I'm lazy. And this actually is the exact top four I predicted all that time ago at the start of the tournament. And I guess the highest run scorer and highest wicket taker were both wrong, but finding flaws is not what we're here to do on this channel. The first semi-final is between New Zealand and South Africa, and they've already faced each other in the group stage, the first group stage. South Africa dominated most of their matches in this World Cup, albeit with a couple of struggles here and there. Their bowling wasn't all that great against Afghanistan, their top order failed to fire against India and Zimbabwe, and the rest of their middle order was pretty weak in their other matches. But again, it's still a really good team. They can coordinate really well, but I feel like their only consistent problem has been their spin. They don't really have any spin bowling wicket takers. In the last one, they had someone like Tabraiz Shamsi, and their only other average spinner is Keshav Maharaj. Linde hasn't done particularly well this World Cup, but played a crucial innings against Zimbabwe, so I guess you can keep him in the team for that. This wouldn't usually be anything that bad, but New Zealand's one real weakness, or their batting's one real weakness, is basically spin. In the last couple of matches, New Zealand's whole batting lineup was destroyed by spin, and they only won the Sri Lanka game with their own spin magic, and even against Afghanistan, they were really, really bad with the spin. But then again, those matches were played in Sri Lanka, so there's a bit of flaw in that logic. But their middle order has also been pretty bad. They did get some runs in the last couple of matches, but Daryl Mitchell and Mark Chapman still do not look at the best form they can be in. They're just very vulnerable to spin, and both of them are coming in at the exact moment where spin is at its peak. Also, they're batting very low, and New Zealand just seems to want to promote Phillips 2, 4, or 5. So putting Mitchell and Chapman down at like 6 and 7, it's like just not that good. I do think New Zealand still has an elite team, but they just can't beat South Africa. Sure, Seifert and Allen could get easy starts against Jansen, but then Nigidi comes on with his slower deliveries and it starts to crumble. Plus, I doubt that these finishers will be able to deal with Rabada and Nigidi in the end. Neesham probably could deal with them in the death, so yeah, but like, he's injured, so there's really no point in me saying that. Without Neesham, I just don't really see the side having a chance in making it into the finals. The Jansen-Seifert battle will be exciting to see, though, and South Africa's openers do have to get into good form to face Santner. I feel like Santner, Southee, Ravindra, they'll definitely pose a huge challenge to Brevis, Stubbs, and Markram, but they should get over it fairly well. But obviously, be careful, it is a semifinal. You don't want me to throw the C word around. Plus, I don't see much from the Pacers that can do really well against these masters of fast bowling. De Kock definitely needs to get his eye in for this game, though. Matchups I would look out for are Santner versus Brevis, Henry versus De Kock, Rabada versus Allen, Seifert versus Maharaj, and Phillips versus Ferguson. The next one is India versus England. Actually, I think this is... For the past 3 T20 World Cups, these two have faced each other in the semifinals. Yeah, so this one, 2024, they faced... India won that, and then 2022 they faced, England won that. Oh, and then the winner of them won the trophy, that's actually pretty interesting. Never noticed that. Yeah, and actually both of these teams have been interesting. They were both favorites for the tournament based on how good and how explosive their batting was, and then their batting failed in the majority of their matches, but the bowlers and I guess lower order batters brought it back. Will Jacks did really well for the Englishmen, and various players, mainly Dubé for the batting, did well for India. This match doesn't really come down to pacers or spinners either. It's mainly just the batting. Adil Rashid and Liam Dawson have been amazing for England, but they were playing primarily in Sri Lanka, so it makes sense. For the Indians, Chakravarti hasn't been at his best in the last 2 matches, and nor has Axar throughout this entire tournament. Their best bowler throughout the tournament has still been Chakravarti, though, so India has to decide whether to use him or not. It's not like he's become readable either. Chakravarti has just bowled a couple of bad deliveries, and he gets punished for it so that the batters can't bring his momentum, which just increases like how much more he's gonna leak, right? It's like, it's not really like, he's bowled bad deliveries before, but they just haven't been punished as much as they are being right now. Obviously, Chakravarti can still pick wickets. He's just missed the economical factor. He picked wickets against both South Africa. I think he only picked 1 each, though, but he still did pick wickets. And he's still been like, I think in the second over, Chakravarti did not give that many runs against the West Indies nor against South Africa. It's just his first and I guess his fourth over that really messed him up in both of those games. South Africa mainly played him on the back foot, and the Caribbeans mainly punished him based on his length. They know Varun does like the short ball a lot, so they mainly target that. The other problem or concern for India is their clear weakness to off spin. The spin shady could easily run through this team. He's just had a really successful tournament, but he hasn't bowled in the power play all that much. England might keep him out of the power play just because Sanju is there, but Sanju could get out to someone like Dawson pretty quickly. So, like, you have this, you have Jofra coming in, and then you probably have Dawson coming in just destroying Sanju, and then Jax will wrap the rest of the team up, right? Dawson's like actually a pretty solid forward, so I wouldn't like back Sanju to be confident against him either. So like, don't be too overconfident. Surya and Talak could probably navigate the spinners pretty easily because they've been playing in Sri Lanka all that time, and pretty easy for spinners to do there. I don't think they'll do that good in Wankhede. I think they're playing in Wankhede. I just don't think they'll do that good in Wankhede. I don't know how well the English batters will fare against the Pacers, but as long as Butler and Salt can go early, I think it's pretty fair game for India. I say this a lot, but wickets are overrated in T20s, but in this case, it's just not true. They need the wicket of Butler early on because he does want to have some impact on what could very well be his last T20 World Cup. Chakravarti also has a pretty good record against England's batting, and England's been pretty bad against spin throughout the entire tournament. Even against Pakistan, England were pretty terrible, and Brooke only got that 100 thanks to that terrible bowling from Shadab and Ayub. They kept bowling right in his arc, which is something that Varun, I'm pretty sure he's smart enough not to do, and considering that his main strength is bowling wide and short, it's something that Brooke can't take advantage of. I mean, Brooke's very good against wide and short deliveries, but again, I feel like Varun is smart enough not to bowl there. But we've seen him in the last two matches that he hasn't been smart enough to not bowl there, which is kind of weird. I don't really want to like degrade Varun that much because like India shouldn't drop him, right? He's been your number one bowler in what? The last 2 years since the last T20 World Cup? Yeah, he's been your best bowler. So you don't want to degrade him that much, but then again, like, is he really smart enough to not bowl at his usual strength and bowl somewhere else? You do have to consider this, but I'm very against dropping Varun. I think they should go with the same 11. I think all these teams should go with the same 11. Matchups I would look at, speaking of Varun matchups, I would look at are Varun versus Brooke, Bumrah versus Butler. That's going to be an interesting one. Dawson versus both Sanju and Surya, and Will Jacks versus Abhishek. And that's it for today. I'll see you next week.